All right. Morning. Still morning down on the East Coast. 11:20. Wait for that YouTube to kick in. There we go. Okay. Hope everybody's well. Maybe we'll wait for a little bit till people file in. Got Blue Nose. Blue Nose is going to listen. Is Blue Nose at work? We were at 8, now we're at 5. Salty Air. Good morning. How are you? Anybody made any interesting observations on things? JJ. Linda. Mark Evans. Good morning. Okay. Well, we've got 14 in here. That's a good start. I think this is a really important interview. It's going to lay the foundation for some other things that I'm going to talk about. So I've alluded to it in prior videos, certain components of this story. Now, Rodney Peterson has been fairly, I would say, heavily maligned in the media. And I would say that that's due to the sighting on Fisher Road. So I wanted to read his statement to you because it reads very, very different. And the evidence, which I probably won't get into all of it, but does not necessarily line up with what they say. Of course, we had this article. Corporal Rodney Peterson is not tactically sound, in quote, and quote, puts us at risk, says fellow cop Nick Dorington. Now, in my reading of this article, there seems to be some things that don't quite line up with what the statement says, but I'll leave that for you to decide. Just take note of course, who's saying this, right? And where it's coming from. When the evidence first came out, of course, that was via the foundational document drop from Paul Palango that mentioned that Rodney Peterson drove by Wortman and then kind of just continued on going. I would say that that's not quite so in my reading, but again, let you all decide for yourself. Robert Thomas, good morning. NS44, good morning. Cheryl Clark, hello from my home of my grandsons. They're home today, so I can listen. Yay! Caught my notifications for change. Yes, if your bell isn't rung or whatever it is, do make sure that it is. Please. Nikki Lewis. Chris Lee. So is he running smoke for MCC? Again, I will let you decide, but all of you are fairly intimately familiar with the story. right? So you know the facts, you know the kind of the order, the way that the Mass Casualty Commission has told us the way things are. File that away when we read through this. 40 pages. Hopefully I can power through it. Not too bad. Lee. And yeah. So make sure my glasses are kind of clean here. Okay. Nova Scotia born. Wow. Glasses are dirty. How are you doing? It's rung on you too, but most of the time it only rings in my head. Did you find everything that you're looking for? No, I was looking for my mind. I seem to have lost it. Oh. They like that at the store. I can't help find that for you. Well, if you do happen to track it down, let me know. Okay. I think we're kind of clean. So Corporal Rodney Peterson, of course, has been, I would say, not well received. Okay, Corporal Rodney Peterson, October 21st, 2021. Part 1. Wayne Fowler. We've got, who else do we have there? Oh, they'll go through the circle, of course. So by my watch, it's 9:15, Thursday, October 21st. I am Wayne Fowler, an investigator with the Mass Casualty Commission. I'm Scott Spicer, Mass Casualty Commission. My name is Rodney Peterson, presently at CIDPS headquarters, RCMP headquarters in Dartmouth. Ooh, he knows the routine. Patricia McPhee with the Attorney General of Canada. Heidi Colcutt, also with the Attorney General of Canada. Government, defending government. Good stuff. Wayne Fowler, I'm not sure what Wayne Fowler, I can't remember what he does. Sorry. I do know that I looked there, Robert, but Wayne Fowler. Great. So just before we get started, we had a brief conversation. Surprise. Always kinds of things off tape. I mentioned to you if you need a break or whatever, or if we could get something comes up or becomes emotional or troubling, just say so. We can take a break. We don't want to move into that if we don't have to. And also, I understand you had conversations. Sorry. And you are here voluntarily. You are not being forced to speak to us, correct? Hello, Anita. I understand. Yes, that is true. And I also mentioned that that we are recording the interview. Yes, I understand. Okay, perfect. Now, before we get started, Rodney, is it okay if I call you Rodney? It's okay if I call you Rodney. Is it? Yeah, Rod or Rodney. Rodney is probably better for this environment. Okay, before we get started, can you just tell us who Rodney Peterson is like? What's your background? I don't want personal information, but just tell me a little bit about who Rodney Peterson is. Well, personal information. Right now, I've been a member for 24 years now. Posted age division, posted mostly in H division, but I did do 5 years in J division. Recently, I've had 5 postings. This is my 5th posting. Mostly general duty policing all of my career. Most of that is in First Nation policing, and I also have district policing in there as well. Yeah. So I've just recently been posted Community Indigenous Diversity Policing Services. So my role is Indigenous Police Analyst. And so I'm Indigenous myself. Bernard Peterson. Okay. And so this is the first time I've had a chance to not wear the uniform to come to work. So, which is nice. Yes, it is. Okay. So when you mention your postings, you spent the majority of your career here? Yes. So what postings and what detachments were you posted at while you were here? So I first started out, my first posting was in 1997. It was in New Minas. So that time, it was a standalone detachment. While I was there, they went to the district policing concept. Not sure if you know what that is. So I did 10 years there. So I did district policing, plus my main role was Indigenous policing for 2 First Nation communities that were in the district. From there, I transferred to Millbrook in 2007. Millbrook Detachment, which is an Indigenous community. Bernard, Millbrook. 2012, I was promoted to here's a word I can't do, Elsipdog in J Division. So that's a First Nation. It's the second largest First Nation in Atlantic Canada. So I was posted there in 2017. I came back to Bible Hill. And as of July this year, I was posted in my current posting, the CIDPS, Indigenous Policing. Okay, so as of July, when was this done? October. Okay. Cool. You've been around a little bit. Not as around, but not as I'm thankful that I stay close to, I'm from the Valley, Annapolis Valley. So I was very fortunate to do that. Yeah, that's really good, because I wasn't expecting the amount of members that actually are from here and stayed here. Yeah, I'm it's an agreement for Indigenous. Well, back then it was an agreement. They continued to to try to get their Indigenous members back. Right now, I think it's a recruiting strategy, because it offers more benefits than other people. I think so. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so actually, maybe we can just briefly touch on some of your training before we get into the events. You can just give me a brief overview of your training that you received in the last 24 years, and most recently, let's say, in the 5 years or so. The last 5 years, I took a bunch of online courses this summer or spring. Geez, I can't remember all of them. It was right from, I can't remember. Who knows, right? I took like 11 courses this spring because I was on a gradual work to return. Okay, so he's been out. Oh, right. Okay. Well, one course I did take, which might be relevant, is Critical Incident Response, level 200. University shit. Right. On. I took that in 2017. Other than that, it's just the standardized courses that we have the mandatory courses, I think they call them. And I did a lot of online courses this spring and anything out of the ordinary. Yes, there was another course I took. It was on disputes, how to handle disputes, protests, and whatnot. So I took that course in 2017 as well. Some of the other courses, manangling courses, like supervisor courses, like how to manage people and whatnot. I did write down that I took the last time I took the family violence course was in 2007, so 14 years ago. Just talk, I can't think of all the courses that I take over a period of time there. This fucking school. Oh, bye, Cheryl. Have a good day. Enjoy your company. Yeah, no. There's a lot of online courses, I know, that from our previous world. So just touch on a little bit of the training. So you mentioned the family violence course a ways back. Was there any courses that was offered to you specifically in rural policing on top, outside of the family violence one? Was there any? No, I don't think so. Specific training or extra training? No, I'm not aware of any rural courses like that. Like it's just one course seems to be for everyone, no matter where you're at. Okay. And just to touch on, so use of force training. Are you carbine trained? Yes. Yes, I am. Yeah. Do you remember when you got your carbine training? The last, or when I received it initially? Yeah, the first. Initially, I think it was 2015. It was the same week that Moncton shootings happened. No, no, he's logged on. It's an interesting log on that he has, but okay. Yes, that'll probably come in later. And that's a yearly qualification, I understand, right? Yeah, carbine is. It's your service pistol and yes, it's annual. They call it an annual qualification. So they do the pistol and the carbine, I think, and no, they do them separately. Sorry. Yeah, but once a year. Yeah, yeah. In 2007, 2009, I did take the firearms instructor course, which I passed. However, unfortunately, I was not able to do very many instruction because of my posting in Millbrook, and we were short staffed. And when I went to J Division, I did one, or I was a backup in one course for an annual qual of pistol and shotgun qualifications. That was a backup. There's an image, I think, that will develop if you hear closely what he's saying. But after that, they went to where the training section is going to take that. So they had a full time, like they're doing here. So instead of getting the members to donate their time to do this, then they say, well, we'll have all members that will do the full time do training all year round. So I sort of got, so I don't have very much, I guess, experience doing the instruction, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And what about IARD training? Your incident rapid action deployment training. IARD. Yes. IARD. Yeah. Yeah. So I was in the force like around in 2000 when that was developing. I was just a course candidate. I wasn't actually instructing or anything like that, but yeah, so I saw that develop into what it is now. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, in fact, I've attended all of them that I had, mandatory training. I guess they call it now. So, and they call it block training. So you go Monday and you do everything you need to do, and then you leave on Friday. So, so I think it's every 2 years we do that. Right. Okay. So, is there anything else on training before we move on there, Scott? Scott. No. Okay. So, I guess we'll move into, I guess you started on the morning of the 19th. Yes. Can you bring me through basically the start of that day, the start of your shift, where you feel comfortable? Yeah. I actually, you can go through there. I think where I'll start is actually at home. Okay, is where I'm starting. So, for some reason, 8:35 sticks in my head. 8:35, or it might be in later than that. But so I'm getting ready. I'm home getting ready. Just almost getting ready to head out the door. So I pick up my personal phone, which I don't keep by my bed or anything like that. So I've already had shower, shave, and all that. So I'm getting ready to head out the door. And I see there was a few text messages. So I said, it was not unusual, you know, at night, you you don't listen for that. I don't anyways. And so I looked, and so it was one of the guys that I supervise. Pardon me. The wording here I think is important too. It was one of the guys that I supervise. It was, I don't know if you want me to name names or just, yeah, sure. Pat McNeil. So he was working from home because at that time COVID was still, or was just starting to develop, right? And so he was high risk, or his family, a family member is high risk. So we couldn't have him come into work because of that, for some reasons. And so he said, I forget what the text messages said, but they did say that the guys were my other team, or a few of my other team went out last night. So I was sort of like, what? So I'm like, sort of, so I'm ready to go out the door. So I said, I'm going to call him on my way to work. So just to save, because I wanted to get to work is my priority. So on the way there, I called him. It's a short drive to work, probably 5-7 minutes. So I discussed with him, and basically all he had to offer wasn't a lot. Was that the he said that there were some shootings the previous night. There's a fire, and that I think 3 of my guys got called out. I don't know if he named the guys. Yeah, sure, because no, I don't know if he I don't know if he did. Yeah, yeah. So okay. So I said, I'll get a hold of them when I get to work, and find out what's going on last night. So I get to work and there's no cars. It's only, I think, the one I usually drive, the truck. And so I get there and I say, yeah, whatever it is, it must be big because normally there's a half a dozen cars kicking around, right? So I go to the locker room, change and whatnot. I don't call the members directly because in my head, I'm figuring I got to get logged on, get ready to go. That's my priority, right? Because even if I call them, I still have to do that. I'd rather get ready first, my uniform on and whatnot, and all my gear. So, did all that. I, so, so if everybody was called out the night before, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, is there any is there anything that needs to be done left over from last night? Anything passed on that I need to do? Do you think that's going to be his first thought? He's very nice. Or is there prisoners that need to be released, processed, interviewed, or whatever? So, no prisoners. And I log on to the computer in my office just to see if there's anything. We have a shift report at the end of the shift that sort of says, okay, here's what happened the night before. Here's the stuff that you need to do today to help us out, right? But I can't remember if there was or wasn't one. So either way, I go into the equipment room, log on to maybe I didn't do it in that order. I got my equipment from the equipment room, did that. I don't know which order I did it in. No, that's totally fine. That's fine, that's fine. Or sorry, that's fine, and that's totally fine. So I don't know which one was which, right? So at that point, I can't say which came first. So I'm trying to get logged on, but I'm having issues with the computer, which is fairly common with those. You know, you log on, somebody didn't log off properly, or there's a communication issue with, it won't transmit. There's a variety of reasons why that happens, right? So I'm trying to get logged on. So I guess from there, the day, it was nice. It was, other than what happened, the day itself was beautiful. I remember the part of the sun was shining. And so I was I was out getting parked, and I think this was the way that it happened, is that Sergeant O'Brien, Drinky Drink O'Brien, remember his testimony? He talks about this somewhat in his testimony. And I think he must have been in the equipment room when I came out of the door, because the two doors are close together. The room is right next to the exit. I think he came out because he was getting a portable battery from the equipment room. And he had said, I think he said something to the fact that he was out at the command post and he needed another battery. So he's walking pretty fast, and then he came towards me. So I'm sitting in my car or my truck or the SUV, the Tahoe. I think it is. So I'm sitting in the Tahoe, and he comes at me and says, "Why'd your guys come out last night?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't know why." And he said, "Do you know we had something going on last night?" And I said, "Yeah, I heard something went on." And so from there, he said, "We have nobody to take calls, and you're going to have to take calls today." And he was like, he pointed his finger at me. Why'd your guys come out last night? And I said, I don't know. I don't know why. He's totally in the dark. He has no idea what's going on. Tony, morning. Caper. At high speed. 24-year veteran. Good morning, crazy. Morning. So he has no idea what the fuck is going on. And O'Brien is like, you're going to be answering calls. You take calls. And he was like, he pointed his finger at me, and I said, oh, okay. And last night, and so he, first of all, from there, I said, okay, I'll find out. I don't know what happened last night. I'm just getting here. Sort of that I'm just getting here, but I'll find out for you. So from there, I remember that he started to walk away, and it was sort of like, oh, by the way, type of thing. He's like, we're looking for a police car, and put your hard body armor on. So I'm like, okay. So I remember getting out, and he's leaving and putting my hard body armor on, and still not knowing what went on last night, right? From there, I went across the road. And so in my head, right, I'm across the road knowing that there's a that they had a shooting and we're looking for a police car, which in my head doesn't make sense. Why are we looking for a police car? So in my head, it's, you see these decommissioned police cars. Okay. I'll let everybody go to their own conclusions, but obviously we know he knows nothing, and he's trying to piece it together kind of after the fact now, knowing what he knows. You see them all over the place. That's what I'm looking for. In my head, he wouldn't, I don't think, know that at that point in time. In my head, I remember being at the gas pumps, looking to see if this car is going to pull up, and so it didn't. Again, after the fact, I gassed up. From there, I said, well, I'm going to start heading. I knew it was in Portapic, and it was, I don't know how I knew that at that point or that direction, I don't know if I knew it was directly in Portapic, but over in that area. I'm still having trouble getting logged on, or I couldn't get logged on. But I said, I can sit here and try and log on, or I can do that while I'm get there, find out what's going on. So I'm still trying to get logged on and whatnot. And in this time in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm the only one that's able to take calls. How's that going to work out for me? If, it's a big country. Where's my backup? Who's my backup? Do I have backup? Is there anybody that's coming, or anybody coming later? Was anybody called in to help me, right? So that's what I'm thinking in my head. All logical questions. He's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I continue. I do get logged on. Obviously, Tim didn't read this. I do get logged on. I talked. First, I think I spoke with Rod McDonald. So I tell him, or not tell him. I said, well, I asked him. I said, what happened last night? And he said, so this is on a cell phone, right? And he said, yeah. He confirmed that there were multiple people shot. Interesting question to ask if it was on a cell phone. multiple people shot and Portapic, and I think he was posting near a road somewheres or on an intersection somewheres, doing like, I didn't know, so scene security, or it was more of a, checking intersections. I don't know. Okay, so he says, like, I tell him, I said, well, I asked him. Notice how it's scaling down. So he said, again, he told me, he said, we're looking for a police car. So in my head, I'm still trying to pro a police car. Like, did a member have a breakdown or something like? But so he said, a police car that has decals on it. I said, okay, you mean subdued decals? Like, I'm trying to process it in my head to figure out what's he trying to get at. Subdued decals? I think, again, he's piecing stuff together after the fact, but somewhat. So what I meant by that wasn't what he thought it was. You can buy the police cars, when you get them, when you take off the decals, it leaves residue. So in my head, that's what he meant. Some of them you can, like the old decal system, when you can remove it, you can clearly, it was a police car. You can see it clearly. It was a police car, right? So in my head, that's okay. We're looking for that. Hey, Cindy. Todd. I don't know about that, Tony. I'm always interested by your comments. So, me is, what I meant by that maybe wasn't what he thought it was. You can buy some old police cars, or residue, sorry. So in my head, that's okay. That's what we're looking at. And he said towards the end of our conversation was that they sent a picture out of it. I said, okay, I'll get to that and I'll have a look at it. So in the meantime, another objective I wanted to do, I knew these guys had been out all night at this point, because I think Rod said that he had come out last night around 10 or 10:30 or 10 or so, or 10:30. And so I knew that our day shift started Saturday at 7, and that these guys would be awake all Saturday and Saturday night, Saturday overnight, now into the next day. So I said, you guys are, to Rod, do you need anything? Coffee, anything like that? And he said, yeah, if you can pick me up a coffee, that'd be great. So I said, okay, I can do that on the way, right? Nice guy. This is his superior. And he doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and chain of command has gotten broken big time. Not a good thing. So I could do that on my way there, right? I called Trent Lafferty, my other guy, a guy I supervise. Asked him the same. He said, nah, I don't need anything. Very poor reception. I could hardly talk to him. He confirmed him and Nick Dorington, which is another guy I supervise, was there. The Three Amigos. And so now I know all three of my members were out all night. Chain of command. So, as I'm continuing, I'm almost at Masstown. I think it's 9:39, if I can remember my notes. I got an email. Not an email. I don't know what you call it. It was downloaded to my car. A message. I got a message, a description of a vehicle, and a picture. So I'm driving and trying to open this up. And so I can't open it up. And I'm almost in Masstown by this point. And Masstown's right here. So obviously it's indicating something on a map. No, I don't think so, Robert. I don't think so. No. That was not my read, but interesting observation. I can't open it up, and I'm almost at Masstown by this point, and Masstown's like right here. So I said, you know what I'll do is I'll get off, go up there, park, and then that way try and open it up. So as soon as I get up there, I think I was going to go through the drive-through, but that's when I get dispatched the call. I get the call. I think it was 9:42, 3 minutes after getting this down, like this message. Now I took the call. So the call, I think it was, if I can remember correctly, was this, it was broadcast over the air. Again, these things are always important to note because you can go back and check them in the transcript. And plus, like, by that time, it was also sent down to my car. So, and I read it, and the dispatcher had said what the call was. So at that point, I didn't go through the drive-through. I said, no, I'm not going to go through the drive-through now. So I took the call. I put myself 1017, which means I'm en route to the location. I believe I hear the other guys saying, send me a copy, send me a copy. So I knew, okay, send a copy to me. So I knew that there's people responding with me. So as I was on, I left Masstown. I went Highway 2. Now I'm going lights and sirens as quickly as I can go. So Highway 2. So as soon as he gets a call, boom, he's like, no coffee for you, even though he's getting coffee. Hey, would you like a coffee? Yeah, get me one. This is my read. Anyway. So Highway 2 parallels Highway 4. So it's where Highway 104 is and Highway 2. So that, for me, was the fastest way to get to the intersection of Highway 4 to get out of Wentworth. So I understand that call was 2 bangs were heard. And I looked, and it looked like a police car that was leaving the scene. Good recollection. And I'm thinking, is it one of these decommissioned police cars? Because I can't get a visual, by now. So I knew there was a lady on the side, and I don't know if she was suspected, if she was shot or not, but I don't know. So I'm going down on Highway 2. I'm coming over the crest, and there's a construction site. So and I'm right into it. So I'm like, frig. And the way it was, so I see probably 4 or 5 or 6 boom trucks, Nova Scotia Power, I think, type boom trucks. And what they're doing, they were replacing the telephone poles on one side. So I came through there. It took me probably at least 4 or 5 minutes because I was going against the traffic was coming towards me, and the flagman and they had sort of put out these cars somewheres, put me somewheres. It was a process. And there was a whole line of traffic coming. So I remember going up Highway 2, going across the overpass lights and sirens. Then I'm gaining speed up, going about as fast as I could go in that truck, which isn't fast. Well, it is fast, but not as fast as the cars are. So I'm going over the highway and in my head. So at this point, what I'm doing in my head is trying to formulate a plan for when I get there. What am I going to do? Scene containment? Is the suspect going to be there? Will the suspect return? So I'm trying in my head to figure out all these plans of what to do when I get there. So I'm going to my mouth is dry. That's all. So I'm going about 160, which is about as fast as my truck will go. So I go over the highway. I don't know how far. It wasn't far, a kilometer, 2 kilometers in, that I saw in my notes. I think that I say the in the distance, but it wasn't in the distance as in miles or anything. It was like enough I could tell that there was a car coming and it was going slow. So he's going 160, right? Going pretty speedy. So I'm looking at the car, just trying to figure it out. And he doesn't have the picture. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. At least according to him. You know who this might be, and if it's, what kind of car is it? And as I got closer to it, the picture of the car was more clear. Picture. This is how people have memories. It's a picture. So I determined in my head that this is a police car coming towards me. So at this time, I knew probably other members. After I spoke with Rod, Rod McDonald, I realized, this is other members were probably called out from other jurisdictions, maybe, and whatnot. So I may not know everybody that's in these police cars. So I'm trying to decide, should I stop, slow down, talk to this person, keep going? So this is very quick. 160, fucking rights it is. It's not like I had a lot of time. We were like, bam, pass each other. So I said, if I stop and this is the bad guy, I'm going to get shot here. I'm going to get killed. If I continue on, that will give me a chance to turn around and pursue him or to do something, right? So I'm getting closer to the vehicle. This is very fast. So as I get closer, I don't pay much attention to the vehicle as I do to the person inside, because the reason why is I guess the primary reason is to figure out, to get is this guy if this guy has a gun exposed, anything that would give me an indication, or if I knew this person, maybe I knew them, or that's who it is, and I'll put the brakes on and call him on the radio, tell him to turn around, because I'm part of me is saying, why is this police car coming from away from the call I'm going to? But it's possible that they're going to other jurisdictions, or they're on like the tactical radio channel that they wouldn't hear that. They would have missed it. So in that, all these thoughts are going within 4 seconds, probably, by the time I see him, encounter him. So I'm looking at, I guess the long story short is I'm looking at the danger, which the person is in the police car, which I perceive could be a danger or could be a friend. I don't know. As I'm going past, I'm intently looking in going at high speeds and look in the vehicle because I'm up a little bit higher. I'm in the Tahoe and he's in a car, so I can get a description of that person. Don't recognize the person, but get the feeling this is not a just, I think in the report I said he had, or on the radio, I said it was a smile. It was more like an unsettling grimace or like, a forced smile, sort of. You know, like didn't look natural for him. And this, I'm going I'm going by very fast, but it's a snapshot of what I got. Again, that to me, that's memory. If you're driving down the highway really fast and you pass somebody, it's a snapshot. It's a picture. It's not a like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe your guys' memory is different. So as I passed him, I'm thinking, okay, in my head, I need some validation. This is maybe the guy I'm looking for. So there's a lot going on in my head. I'm thinking, okay, self-preservation. How do I get the information out there? How do I determine, best of my knowledge, or try, validate this is the bad guy that I need to spend my time turning around to go and pursue instead of going to the crime scene? So I asked, as soon as I passed him, I said, what is the description of the vehicle that we're looking for? Something to that effect, like very quick. And somebody responded very quickly. It's a police car. It's got decals, roof. I don't know if he said roof lights, but he said the call and said the call sign, and it was something 18. So I replied, I didn't get the call sign, but I believe it's the guy that we're looking for, or something to that effect. Again, he doesn't have the picture or anything, right? He has no knowledge of any of the shit. So all this time, while I'm doing this, I'm trying to be tactical about it too, which means that I'm trying not to get myself killed here. In my head, he's got a gun, he's going to use it. Those two usually don't end well for a person. If he's ready and I'm trying to drive this car and so that's in my mindset is I'm pretty sure this is, so your heart goes into your throat. So I'm trying to look. After I got that out, I knew I had to get a description of the vehicle out, or the person, and where I was my location. So I don't know where in there. I think it was through the whole turnaround coming back process. But what I remember is responding back saying, I didn't get the call sign number, but I think it's the guy we're looking for, or something to that effect. I told my location. I think first, this is the thing I did. Said my location just in case anything happened to me. They knew. They knew where this guy was encountered. Not like he ran off. No. He's making a lot of split decisions really fast, and he wants people to know, in case he gets killed, where is this guy? So I gave the description, the location. So at first I said, I'm Highway 4 intersection 2, that way, which it was wrong. So as soon as I said that, I said, no, it's not Highway 2, or Highway 102, it's 104. So I said, it's Highway 4 and 104. Again, this is all interesting stuff if you compare it to the logs. So in there, all this time, this is happening. And I gave a description of them too. So the description I gave was, I think it was, I don't know if I said it was a Caucasian male, But what I saw was a Caucasian male with a hat on. You guys remember about the hair? The hair. And I'm like, how the fuck does he have hair? And then he's got the hat on later. So he's got a hat on. But it gets a little more interesting. A reflective vest on. It wasn't a reflective vest like construction workers, like the old ones, like the plastic looking one. It was like the nylon reflective vest, like the ones that we are issued. And he had a long sleeve blue shirt on. So me, that doesn't say that he's, is or isn't a police officer, because if you notice these days, we have people coming in with very, very dark, long sleeve shirts on. Some wear the traditional grayish color shirt. So you've got a variety of uniforms, right? So there's no longer uniform, it's uniform, right? This is totally true. There is no fucking uniform anymore. Nobody knows anybody. They're wearing all kinds of goo. So while this is happening, I can't remember what the order all that happened in, but I do remember that after I went past him, came around a bend in the road. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to get shot if I don't do this correctly. If he turned around, which I didn't know, I can't say, I was trying to look and do all this at once and trying to determine if he's turned around on me, and now I'm going to be the one that's pursued or shot at. So I remember going into an intense or a bend in the road. I said, like, I'm too fast to slow down. 160. I did look at the GPS logs. I can't remember what speed he's going, but I did time it out. I compared it to what the logs. It's pretty fast. He does turn around or abandon the road. And I said, like, I'm too fast to slow down, to turn around for that bend. Plus, I don't know if he's behind me. So those are the thought processes I have. So I'm coming up to the bend in the road. When I get around the bend, I realize I can't get turned around here. The road is like it could be a 4 or 5 point turn. So I get caught in this 4 or 5 point turns. I was going to get shot, or if there was another car coming I wasn't aware of and ran into me. So I had to go down a little bit further. To me, that's reasonable. And turn around. I had to get a little bit more room and come back. So I'm coming back. I'm looking at the driveways and whatnot. Like, I'm not going back as fast as I was going to the crime scene, because I wanted to check the driveways and everything just in case he pulled off somewhere. So I didn't see anybody or see anything, see him again. And I went up the highway, and I remember saying, don't think he made it to the highway. And the reason I said that is because when I came up to the highway, I could see left and right, maybe a good kilometer each way. And I was thinking, unless he really booted it, I don't think he could have, went that distance. Hey, Peter. Oh, God, the hat with the hair. What a bunch of fucking nonsense. Fucking goo, man. Seriously. You think that he made it up to the highway? The 104. So I'm on the Highway 4, and then the 104 is the major Trans-Canada highway. So my mouth is getting dry again. So at this point, the call comes in that he's at the suspect's at a residence. And I can't remember 100% clarity on how that call came in. This stuff all really gets interesting. This really all gets very interesting now. I can't remember how 100% clarity how the call came in, but he was at a residence and the complainant said if he comes in, he's going to shoot him. So I stopped the vehicle, or stopped because I had to turn around anyway, because I know it was, I don't know if they gave the address over the air or whatnot, but I wanted to map it on, so it's on my computer. If you take the call and press the map, you'll see exactly where it is on the GPS mapping system. But what happened was the computer went offline again. Fucking odd. So for me, I need this information that's going to help me from how I'm going to encounter this guy again or come up with a plan. So while I'm trying to log on or reboot the computer, now think about time. How long does it take to boot a computer? All this stuff. The GPS logs don't reflect this. Very interesting. As I see an unmarked car coming very fast towards me. And so it was what ended up being one of our cars. It was a black Nissan Altima, I think, or Altima. And then they pulled up to where I was. So I was pulled off the road. It was on the car had pulled up to me on their own side of the road. So he stopped. He's rebooting a computer. This takes time. So we're a distance apart. We're not right next to each other. So I saw it was Terry Brown and Dave Melanson. They're two plainclothes police officers. And I said, I'm trying to get the damn computer working so I can map it out. He said, it's just up here. We're going to go. And then they take off. So there's no conversation that I can remember. It's like, so they're in a rush. So as we're like, vroom, going, and I said, hold on. And they must have heard because they didn't. Then they let off the gas. So I started to turn around. Now he's going again. And so on the radio, I think they're still traveling. Now he's on the radio. I said, just pull over. I got to, just pull over right here. And they did. Not in the radio logs, by the way. Brown Melanson. He said it in the radio. He says he said it in the radio, and he remembers what they did. And it's not in the logs. Lots of the things he says aren't. Well, not. I shouldn't say that. He has very different. So and they did. So I said, where is this place? Computer not working. It's the place up here. And Terry knew the place, I guess. He goes, I know the place. It's right up here. Drive, the driveway goes up like this. And I said, okay. The part of the training that you receive is that you got guys who work together. It's like, it's not them going, it's not them go up and then try to figure out where they're going. You got to determine if everybody's got their hard body armor on, their carbines, all that stuff, right? Which doesn't take long to do. It just has to be done, right? So as I'm going, I said, okay, we'll go up. And at that time, other cars started to show up because all these people that took the copies of the initial call are now arriving at different times. He doesn't know about the push bar. He doesn't know anything. And he said, I didn't really see the car. But I believe it may say something in the logs about the push bar, but I can't quite recall. Anyways, so in my mind, so now instead of the three of us, there's starting to be a big gathering of people, which would be like really fast. This is all happening because it's not off the highway, like very far. All of a sudden, all these people start converging. A big gathering of people. So now so imagine, now it's not just our three. Now it's, 6, 8, maybe more. I don't know. So one of the first vehicles there was Staff Sergeant Addie McCallum. So I see him. And so in my head, it's okay, he's in charge. He's the staff sergeant. I'm the corporal. So he comes up. So I give him a very quick briefing, basically, say, okay, they're saying that there's a house up there a little bit, and there's a driveway that goes up to the left. They know the driveway. Terry and Dave know the Fishers. Been to the Fishers before. And we're basically that we're going up. And so I'm basically briefing him. That's my read. What's going on? And he said, yeah, let's go up. So we go. And so I think Terry and Dave, well, Terry knew where it was. So I believe he led all of us. And I think we let the guys know behind us. I can't remember that part. But they knew that they were going to follow us. And the house is right up there. Right up here, sorry. So we get up there, and I remember stopping short of the house. Then we sort of got into position to where we can see the driveway. So at that point, we're sort of, I won't say, I used the word staging, but in my report, it's more like, okay, what are we going to do from here moving forward? So I remember Addie was there, the staff sergeant, and in my belief, it was him that was going to take the lead on all this. I saw an ERT vehicle coming, the black Suburban with 3 or 4 ERT members in it. So they briefly stopped to figure out where this place is. I don't know who told them, if it was me or somebody else, but they went right up. What was that they were saying? They had to wait for the ERT vehicle. That ERT vehicle that's on the other driveway just happens to point, 2 seconds is on the other driveway. So this is right. We arrived just seconds later that they arrived behind us, or they might have been in the vehicle at the back of the pack that just drove up. So it was very, very fast, right? So they went right up to the residence. They went up right to the residence. And I don't know how. I don't know what exactly they did. But so the rest of us sort of took cover. So from there, I lose sight of Addie. I don't know if he's up front or there's probably half a dozen cars there with various people. members are around to take cover, around them, take cover. So at that point, at some point, I think Dave, and so the same unmarked vehicle, they go up the other side. So they go past the house, past the driveways. They keep going. They stop at the road, up past the house. And I can't remember what point they did that, because it's sort of everybody's trying to get their gear on and get ready, and everybody, I think, I can't say everybody had their hard body armor on, but there's still, some other prep work. You've got to sling it. And so I still remember a lot of that happening. And so I remember myself taking back, covering the back field. So where did Brown and Lanson go? Did they go up to the house? Is that the way it reads? I don't know. With the Suburban? So everybody pointing towards the direction of the house. I was pointing. I was in my head. I said, if he's coming, if he's got out of his car, cross the road, then he might come up behind us here. So I'm covering that area with my carbine. And so Ertz already up there. A few minutes later, I think that another Suburban came up with more tactical members. Then a few more minutes after that, the tactical armor vehicle came up. Right, because the tab is fucking slow. So we've got a Suburban that's already up there. That's not in the story. We have Dave and Terry possibly up there too. So they're up there. Oh, sorry. Tactical armored vehicle. And I remember hearing a helicopter too. So at that point, we're taking cover, and basically Ertz got control of the scene. So they're up there. I don't know what they're doing. I can't see what they're doing. I can just hear. So we don't hear anything at all. I don't hear anything. And I'm close to I'm not right next to the members because I was behind the truck. Sorry, behind the truck. And they were behind different locations. So it's not like we were sitting side by side. We were just trying to cover and provide cover. I remember it seemed like a very long time they're up there searching. Does that seem to echo Dion Sutton's statement? Well, not in and out like a dirty shirt. Dion Sutton said whoever was up there for quite a while. They're up there for quite a while. And then they said the car is not up there. It's not up there. So I'm trying to rationalize in my head. So anyhow, everybody just dispersed. They sort of all went on their own directions. I don't remember. Like through all this, I didn't hear the command post or command center giving any instructions at all. I was not privy to any of that, or was not privy to that. What? I didn't hear any instructions. So I figured at that point, everything was what is happening right now is the way it should be happening. Okay. So after they broadcast that the suspect wasn't up there anymore, then we hear Addie jumped in with me. Addie, Staff Sergeant McCown, he said, I'll jump in with you. So people just scatter. I don't know where everybody went, but Addie and I said, what do you want to do? And he said, just go straight. And he said, Plains Road comes down here and intersects with Highway 4, and we'll just park there. I said, okay. So I pulled over, and he said, no, not here. Up further. He said, up further. So we went up a little further, up another road, and parked there. Don't know where that is. GPS log differs from what he's saying here. So I think at that point that we were up there, and I heard over the radio, chaotic saying, don't shoot, it's Ganon. I think it was, I don't know, or sorry, it was, I didn't know what that was all about, but it was, I don't know if somebody broadcast, okay, it's all okay, nobody's hurt, or anything like that. Then after that, we got a call that there was a shooting in Debert. What? The fire hall shooting happens, and then Debert? Scattered to what? With no instructions over the radio? I think that the two ladies got shot in Debert after Onslow. That's not the order. So from there, I think we stayed. I think we were at our location for quite a while. Me and Addie were there because, he said, just stay here, which makes sense. Because if the guy was backtracking, he was going to come towards us, or he'd come out where we were posted. Okay, to me, this doesn't make sense. I understand he's trying to figure it out, but to me, it doesn't make sense. You've just heard that there's a shooting, and you know where he is, roughly. You go that direction. You don't stay there. In the GPS logs, it says that he went to Lillian's place. He doesn't say anything about that. He just says Addie's like, yeah, you go over here and you sit and wait. Okay. How long does he wait? So it's quite a while afterwards. We're still there, and I don't know where anybody was. I didn't hear much traffic on the radio. I didn't hear any direction from the command post. Again. And you might hear a few things here and there between the members. Generally, you didn't have a handle on. I didn't know where everybody was and whatnot. So we were there, I think, basically until I heard Nick Dorington say that there was a police car headed south. I think it was in the Brookfield area. That's like half an hour sitting on the side of the road, doing nothing. And I think, and I don't know if the members were directed to head that way or if everybody decided on their own, but I remember Addie, and he said, "No, let's go now. Okay?" So I remember driving and going on a highway, and I say my vehicle's slower than others. So people and police cars, they're all just passing us, right? And so we're passing them, or so we're passed, and then we went on highway 10. So we're on highway 104. Yeah, 104. Did the intersection, went to highway 102. So now we're heading towards Halifax. So it's all these police cars, passing all these police cars, all these police cars passing cars and whatnot. And he said, just just turn the lights off. Why? He said, because we had our lights and sirens, and it's just on the highway. There's no point. Remember, Dion, you're sending me on a wild goose chase. Turn the lights and siren off. I'll just go that way. You guys are just fucking me around. And I said, well, what do you want to do? And he said, park, park in Brook. Let's go. Stop at the exit. I thought he meant Millbrook, but he said, no, no, no. The next one. Next one, he said. Brookfield. Okay. And we get off there. And so I'm like, do you want to just. I think there at some point, maybe before that, we learned that Heidi was shot. Okay. Brookfield, north of Heidi, quite a bit. So now you know where he is. The direction of travel is south. Darren Bernard said Heidi was shot. I don't know if I knew Chad was shot at that point either. This is not the first person to say this. Darren Bernard said it too. I don't know. I don't remember hearing anything about it. For some reason, it's just in my head. So I asked Addie, what do you want to do? Do you want to go there? Heidi, you're a family member. And he's like, no, no, just go stop in Brookfield. So right by the train tracks, there's a little building. So we park beside that and I get out. I had my carbine. He didn't have a carbine at that point. So we stayed there, basically, just, And I agree with that. I think this is the rationalization again going on. I agree with that because, in case this guy backtracks, at least we have one road covered. So I don't think we heard too much updates and stuff other than when they said they got him. I think the word they currently used, the suspects in custody or something in Enfield. Do you know how long they would be sitting there? You guys know the timeline. They just sat there. Addie asked him to just sit there. Times two. Heidi. You don't go to Heidi. You sit until Enfield is done. And so after that, I'm like, so what do you want to do? And he said, let's go try to find Chad. Where he must have known because I think that's what he said. Let's go try to find. And I think we're going to try to find where Chad was, because he's the member that got shot. And so we head towards Stewiacke. Again, Stewiacke and Chad. He's not the only person. So we couldn't find Chad anywheres, and then we kept going. And then we eventually came to Shubenacadie, the intersection where Heidi was shot. So you could see cars burning. I pulled up. I saw Heidi's leg. Darren Bernard was sitting next to her, or he's sitting on the guardrail. He's a tall guy. So he was just sitting on the guardrail and just writing some notes. So when I get there, which is interesting, I didn't think he said he was writing notes. I thought he said he had to do that later. But maybe I'm misremembering. So when I get there, there's a grass fire, and it's heading towards some buildings. So I call the fire department, had them come, met them when they got there, and had to put the fire or the car fires out. I said, there's evidence here if you can avoid using your high pressure hoses. Huh? He said, yeah, we got something, foam or something. And I got a phone call from a retired fire man, all about the fire down there. They had some issue with the fire. One moment, please. Okay. Yeah, the SUV is slower. Truck's slower. His vehicle slower than all the cars. Dash cams are wired to the lights. Oh, really? Yes, that's right. They are. Ooh. But it also turns on at a certain speed, right? Is Addie the Danko? I still haven't got a read on who is in charge. I really don't. I know that did they divide the Northeast Nova into two, and then you've got Halliday, and you've got Addie, personal email Addie's sending stuff. So did McCallum purposely direct Peterson? I don't know. I just find it very interesting that he's sending him to places that don't apply. Why send him to sit on the side of the road? Previous to anything about the nurses, he doesn't mention anything about Lillian. Now, in the GPS logs, it does seem to indicate Lillian. But he doesn't mention it. You'd think that he certainly would mention that. He doesn't. He just said, Addie's like, go up here further. We'll just sit there. I don't know. And then he sends him down to Brookfield while Heidi's getting, and no mention of Chad. What's the deal with Addie? Good question. Good question. Does it turn off some notification? I mean, Fisher's house is in the first place, Tony. Guess what happens when you turn off the lights and sirens? That's true, but isn't it connected also to the speed? Isn't that what? Where's that? You sent it. Where is it here? Amazing digging, man, you do. The current ICDVS system consists of 5 in-vehicle groups. Listen to all the shit that's attached to this stuff. In-camera video system. The front vehicle audio capturing equipment, the backseat audio video capturing equipment, the display control equipment, the recording equipment, the wireless export equipment. So is it uploading real time? Recordings will be automatically started when police vehicles' emergency lights or sirens are activated. The speed is over 140. The vehicle is involved in a collision. The vehicle member turns on the wireless microphone, or when the ICVS turn on manually. Anytime the system is turned on, the system previous 30 seconds is automatically saved to the hard drive. So I think he said he goes about 160. Their SUVs must go 100. Highway cars slow down. Top speed, can't fly past them. He makes 0 sense. His GPS logs show him going much faster than 100. And he is driving quite fast. On Highway 4, Wentworth speed limit is 80, if I remember correct. That's messed up. Please don't use your power hoses. That's a bird. Well, the destruction of evidence. I mean, really? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Seems that McCallum was not too interested in getting involved for whatever reason. Perhaps his courage, lower level. That's not my read, but okay. I'm not reading through all of McCallum's stuff. McCallum is certainly in the know of what's going down. He knows a lot of shit, man. That's why I was so interested when he was speaking. He knows a lot of stuff. If you read through, not that you haven't, but reading through a lot of documents, he certainly knows a fuckload. Okay. Speeds trigger dash cam, but it also can be shut off. Simply state important ones. They simply state that important ones are shut off. A lot of this stuff confuses me. Well, join the club. Didn't Addie say he did? He did. Both of those are true, Sunshine. Stay in Brookfield, and he didn't hear anything about chat. He doesn't remember anything about chat. I believe any speed above 116 triggers dash cams also. Hello, Joanne. Hello, Sunshine. Freckles. Okay, so the foam. So the fireman changed and that fellow will phone again. I don't know. He said, yeah, got something, foam or something we can lay down to put out those fires without disturbing too much. So, but before that, I do remember that the suspect had switched vehicles. I can't remember. I think they gave the description of 1 or 2 vehicles that he had. So we were confused. What's he driving now type of thing? Okay, you got Dorington's wife sighting of a car on the road when there's fucking how many hundred on the road sending people off to Brookfield? Does this explain potentially this? Maybe Peterson is saying things. This is superior. He's talking shit about him. He broke the chain of command. The reason I'll tell you why they broke the chain of command is an interesting one. A phone call was placed to McDonald, Rodney McDonald. They got off work at 7 p.m. on the 18th, working a full day shift, right? Rodney McDonald gets a phone call from Sergeant Jobe, I believe his name is, Jobe, from Amherst Police Department at around 10 or so. Short phone call, brief conversation. Rodney McDonald, in turn, then phones Lafferty and also phones Dorington, not his superior. And the three amigos, they go out. I haven't found any evidence that they were ordered out or that they were asked or that even checked. They just went. And they certainly didn't check with who? The person that Dorington is maligning. Picture boy Dorington. Just throwing it out there. Very interesting. No. That's not a real car. Don't worry about it. It's just got some stickers. Here, I got a picture of it. Talk about mud in the water. What's he driving now? Type of thing. So yeah, that was before we got confirmation that he was in custody. So I just stayed at the scene, guard duty at the scene or scene security. The resources start coming up. Ident. I think major crime came up. Let me see. I think there were some witnesses that came up that heard something or saw something happening at the intersection. So I took their names and passed along to major crime. Jerry, Angela, Stanton. Stayed there for quite a while. So after that, I think they were looking for people to be relieved at the scene. Scenes the night before. The people that might have been there, the people that have been there all night. So I think that's what I was heading towards. So I got a replacement for me. And this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. Cobequid. The one that nobody seemed to want to go down. Cobequid. Oh, yeah, I saw that road, but just didn't ever think of going down there. Say they. All of the wellness checks. Dorington's notes an hour before. He's on the road, stops in front of Tuck, stops in front of Bonds. Gets the wellness check an hour later, tootling around down in Portapique, then decides to go over to the Blairs until he's off shift at 5. They'd been working since 7 the night before, or the morning before. Fucking crazy. All the wellness checks. And so I remember taking a call from somebody, I don't know in what province, Saskatchewan, maybe. Her brother lived out in Portapique, and she couldn't get a hold of him. Who's that? I'll tell you who that is. That's Tara. Saskatchewan is the area code on her phone. Oh, what a small world. And the stars align. And apparently her brother lived out in Portapique, and she couldn't get a hold of him. Aaron. And at that time, I knew that there had been a lot of people diverted to Portapique, the residents to the fire hall or something like that, as a comfort zone or safe place. And so I said, well, he might be there, I don't know for sure. I got his name and whatnot. Notice how they don't use names here. So there I contacted a corporal down there who was working, Jarrett McDonald. No name. Asked dispatch who was working down there, or I looked it up on a computer. Somehow found out who was down there. I called him and he's like, yeah, I can't do it right now, he said, but I'm the only one here at my post, but I'll go as soon as I can and have it taken care of. So, come to find out later, I heard him on the radio. Yeah, I think it was him. I'm at the residence and... So I get it's the same residence I gave him the number or the address. Then he later reported, yeah, we have two or three casualties here. So I knew it wasn't good. And then I think he went to the wrong house. He went to the neighbor's house. And then he went to the correct house. No addresses. No addresses. Which I gave him. And those people were the brother and his wife were deceased as well. So Jarrett went to the Bonds. Or that's the implication. Then went to Aaron's. And what did that do? It generated a file. And that changed everything. That's my read. Let's see if he gets into some of the more of it. So after that, I questioned dispatch. I said, these, should we be getting these calls? I think I might have called on the phone because I didn't, at that point, there's a lot on the radio. So I don't know if I called him or on the radio or what, but he said, should we be fielding these calls? I questioned it, right? And they said, yeah, it's going down to the members to take care of these calls. Was the initial decision. That was before the corporal found the members. Found the members. Or found, I think that was before as soon as I got off the phone with the girl out west and spoke with the corporal down there. I think that's when I called dispatch to say, listen, should we be taking these calls out on the street here? And the answer was yes. So personally, I didn't think that was right. But anyhow, then I found out what the results were. He never got back to me. Or he broadcast them on the radio. So I knew what, the results were I didn't have to be called. Maybe like later we spoke about it, but I don't think so. So I took another call from somebody else, another family member somewhere else. I think I know who this is. And then at this time I said, I think maybe that's when I called dispatch. Yeah, I think I called on the phone this time. I said, listen, I don't think we should be taking these calls. We're trying to do things out here. Is there any way somebody can take these calls? And at that point, they said they have Sergeant Lilly, Dave Lilly. I think he's the one that took the calls from then on, which is true. So other than that, I went to relieve Nick Dorington, who was out there all night guarding a scene. So I think I stayed there. I didn't get there till around 5, Blair's. And I was the only one for an hour or so. Then they'd start other resources coming in from other places to do night security. So after that point, I was off duty and didn't talk to anybody. It just went home. And that's where my day ended. That is way different and pretty fucked up, if you ask me. If you go through what Jarrett McDonald did, let's see, do I have his notes? To which, by the way, there are 2 comm numbers with the what looks to be the exact same thing. No statement. We have member officer report by Jarrett McDonald, dated 20/04/19, 2 pages. Comm number 00 whatever balls 3915, and you have the same thing again. Member report Corporal J. McDonald 17975. Now let's see what he says. Traveled to Portapic, took over scene security for Sergeant Andy O'Brien. Throughout the shift, members were being sent to a mobile workstation, OCC people inquiring about the well-being of persons who lived in the area. Female from Alberta. Okay, so that's the Olivers. About sister who lives at 41. Corporal McDonald traveled to Cobequid Court. Where is the mention of Rodney? Traveled to 46 Cobequid. Corporal McDonald approached the residence. 2 residents in the driveway door was open. Corporal McDonald went in, identified male shot, female deceased on living room floor, notified OCC. File was created. Now you got a paper trail. Now Cobequid is open. Corporal McDonald traveled to 41. Now to the correct address. Corporal McDonald approached the residence, truck in the driveway, could hear television playing. By the way, the television in some things is playing at the bonds, as I recall, but okay. Constable McDonald looked through the main door, observed a male on the door, inside the door, blank. Corporal McDonald could see one additional person on homemade interior door. I don't know how he could miss Emily, but okay. File was created when nobody else did. Corporal McDonald returned to 2 and Portapique and spoke with Brad Wood. It was decided that additional residents in the area would be searched and may be injured. Corporal McDonald to advise OCC. This is slightly different. McDonald, Wood, and Bent, coming up also this week, completed a search Orchard Beach, Bayview Court, Cobequid Court, Portapique. When clearing 41, it was revealed that another female was there, deceased, Emily. Now, that doesn't quite jive with Bent's notes, which have an interesting notation in it. $5:30, 10 Griffin address. Obtained some, as I was, I obtained same. I believe he's getting pills. As I was preparing to leave, I was told by GD member, again unspecified, that'd be McDonald, they were tasked with checking all residences for bodies and anyone who may be injured. I believe it's McDonald. Asked if this was tasked by MCU. What the fuck? Excuse me? To go and check on bodies? You got to clear that with all the nonsense that's going on Cobequid? Asked if this was tasked by MCU, told no. Called Corporal Rose, head of the investigation, head of MCU, who tasked me to go and look in all the homes to check for more victims, persons requiring help. Told GD more victims at 41. Told by GD more victims at 41 and 46. 3 victims found at 41. Male laying at door, 2 females inside door. Rose updated. 2 victims found, 46. Maid at the door. Female, male at the door, female beside the door nearby. Rose updated. All houses checked is Corporal Jarrett McDonald. Houses locked. Look through all the windows. Doors not entered, not locked. Look throughout the house. No other victims found. Well, that opens up a whole other can, which I'm not going to touch today. No mention of Brown. Is it Brown? Sorry, Wood. Wood. Well, why would you need to clear it with MCU? After everybody's been avoiding Cobequid the whole time. Stinks. And if you read through some other things, you'll find some more that stinks. Bent is not a regular member. He's not some fresh off the boat. Trust me. I think he's the one that took over for these calls from there because I spoke to him, gave him the information. So other than that, I went to go and relieve Nick Dorington. Okay, so that's the end of my day. Wow. I don't know. I'll tell you, when I told Tara that shit, she's like, holy fuck. She couldn't sleep. Literally. All the phone calls that were going in, all of them. It's like all the gin joints in the world. It just happened to hit Rodney Peterson. The same Rodney Peterson that is not looked upon well by somebody who broke the chain of command, somebody who's thrown a lot of mud into the water. And he's not tactically sound? Okay. Just before we go back, so when your day ended, when did you go back to work again? I was going to go back to work the next day. I think it was Al Carroll or somebody reached out. The way the work schedule works, we were supposed to come in that night shift. So we worked day shift on Sunday, night shift on Monday. That's just the way schedule rolls. Sorry, I'm thinking here for a moment. I don't know if this is the right time to talk about that or not. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's do it. Calm. Zero zero 18505. Forensic ident report. What the hell did I do? There we go. Copy. Paste. FIS report. I want you to take note of the addresses that are listed in this report. Big stop. Big stop. Big stop. 71. 123. 135. 136. 41. 46. What's the pattern? All crime scenes, right? 293. What? 45. Excuse me? April 20th, McKenna attended 45 Cobequid Court with Corporal Dean Martin to check on the residence. The property was secured, locked, and no one answered the door. Bent's notes, we looked in every window. We did this, we did that. McKenna gained access to the property, i.e., they broke into the residence and checked all of the interior rooms. There was no persons injured or deceased, and no indication of anything of concern having occurred at the residence. Continuing on, 136, 135, Hyundai, 293, 200, 287, which is just a property. Stuff in the woods. Are you noticing a pattern? FIS only goes to the crime scenes. Why is 45 in there? If nothing happened there, why would you feel the need to file it? And no other address? No, the owner of 46 is the bonds. So I think they're going to have a difficult time. No, it's not. Not at all. They may be in here right now. I don't know. Was that why they didn't want to go down Cobequid? It seems awfully odd. I'm just leaving it there. I'm not making any suggestions. Missed everything to this point. Oh, 45. I just ran through Peterson's statement. His contact with you. The different order of things that he recalls. Anyway, I'll leave that for you guys to figure out. Oh, but I will say this on a different note. Do remember what I mentioned about 6 confirmed dead at the top of the triangle. 3:55 a.m. Non-arson scenes. 4 males, 2 females. Indoor, outdoor. Do the math. 2 males in a residence, deceased. 355. Where the fuck is that? And that's not a mistake. That was going through everybody to the top of the command triangle. To the very top. So what the fuck is going on? And I think it's perfectly reasonable to ask the questions. The evidence is there, enough to ask. Moving along. If you have thoughts, I would love to hear them. Nobody could solve the riddle. Was out there all lunchtime. 2 males in a house. I'm not. How do I know? I don't know. What I do know is I find it highly peculiar. You're going to file with FIS this report. Every other place is a crime scene. FIS are crime scene investigators. Bent's notes said they checked every residence. Why would you feel the need to go to a residence which is locked and break into it and make a specific notation? There was no persons inside, no injury, deceased, and no indication of having anything occurred inside the residence. Where the two, if I don't know, I put the pieces together and I can't seem to find the document now. If you, there's an email, Campbell, there's a bunch of them sitting around, and they go from about 3:55 until, I can't remember, 6. There's a variety of them from a variety of different sources. Coming through Briars, coming through West, all the way up the chain, who would be amalgamating all this data, all the way up to Leather. It's really unfortunate that I can't find that. I can only find pieces. Give me a moment and see if I can find it again. I couldn't find it the other day. But it's back. If you go back in not this week's videos, last week's videos at lunchtime, I went through it pretty thoroughly. Some of you may be in here who I know who owns it, but it's not mine to say. Okay, let me see if I can find it here. I tried last night because I was running through a bunch of stuff with O'Dear and saying, like, listen, am I really off base here, or is this possible? We were running through a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I know this is a piece of it. I can see it there. But there was a big photo montage I put of it together. Yeah, I think this is it. Yes. Okay, good. Whew. I thought it was gone. Maybe it's just me misinterpreting. 0680 text message log. 3:55. Chris Leather outgoing to Moser. Just got off the phone with West. Looks like 6 dead. This point. Multiple scenes. SOC remains at large. Looks like it may have been a domestic. Don't know how fuck you get that at 3:55 or 3:35 in the morning, but okay. With ex-girlfriend. We'll need to start discussing it with J Division. Piece 1. Jeff West Moser, 9:15. Incoming from somebody, because they like to use the color code to confuse. Who the fuck is it coming from? Don't know. Jeff West just gave me an update. Scenes remain active. No immediate resources, Not including arson scenes, there are 3 homicide scenes. Preliminary. 4 males, 2 adult females. Okay. Moving along. From Chris Leather to Darren Campbell. 6:55 in the morning. Let's teleconference with Archie Thompson. Archie. Darren. To Chris. Major incident. Chris. I touched base with both CIC and MCU. Jerry. Commander in charge. West. 5:37. No major changes. MCU confirms 1 male, 1 female in the hospital. 6 confirmed dead. 2 bodies outdoors. 4 more inside of residences. Not including arson scenes. Math. That leaves you with 2 males in a residence, not burned. Right? Okay. Well, I wasn't going to say. So, did you know that your house was entered? How long was it before you got to return back home? I can't quite remember. Sorry, my memory is not quite what it used to be. Uh-huh. It is. Remember the article from Globe and Mail? Where is that? Do you remember that article, Cindy? Perhaps my memory is also failing me, but This article. The picture. Which isn't true. Seen in Portapic. And the next day they're questioning you. How did they know to come and question you? I haven't seen, and I'm not, in no way am I making any accusation. There's something fucking really awry. And again, zero, I'm not making any accusation at all. And I don't want anybody going there. Just asking questions. Because it seems pretty funky that they say they go to your house, break in your house, crime scene investigators, only to say that nothing happened there, when nowhere else in the report do they indicate that they went to any other residence. And they knew that you weren't home, right? Or did they not? I don't know. Yes. To the media, I don't recall them ever saying such a thing. Oh, inside and outside of a residence. Yes, Leather did. Yes, he did. And I always found that statement odd. But clearly they're saying in their email messages to each other, etc., and crime scene identification, there are multiple scenes. Excuse me. Or that's the way I read it. Do you have anything that you can add, Cindy, that can help with this one? Because it's very confusing. Maybe it's just nothing. It did seem very strange that they never wanted to go to Cobequid. You have Bryce, I believe, multiple people who have given testimony thus far, and they're just kind of like, oh, it never occurred to us to go down there, or yeah, we saw the road, but we just didn't think to go down there. Why the fuck wouldn't you go down there? You've got how many wellness checks got put in? How many? Dorington's got it in his notes. even though he was down there an hour earlier. But he never did the wellness check. It was Jarrett McDonald who did at 5. Whatever it would have been, 5:40, all because of a phone call, which appears to be coming from Tara. I hope I haven't upset you in any way, Cindy. That's not my intent. And again, in no way was I making any accusations. Just asking questions, but there seems to be something very off. And I'd like to know what it is. Anybody has any comments, please, speak up. Or leave them in the comment section if you watch afterwards. Because maybe it's just all misreading stuff or whatever. I was going to go back the next day. I think it was Al Carroll or somebody reached out. We were supposed to, the way the schedule works, we're supposed to come in that night shift. So we worked day shift on Sunday and then night shift Monday. That's the way the schedule rolls. He reached out and he said, you know what? Just basically trying to figure out if you guys are coming in or not. He was nice about it. He wasn't, it wasn't the pressure or anything like that. And I was not feeling good for obvious reasons. And I said, well, I'm going to reach out to the guys here. And so I think we got a consensus that we're not going to go in tonight. I presume he's speaking about Lafferty, McDonald, Dorington, his crew. Yeah, so we didn't go in that night and Tuesday. Just followed up with the guys, what are we going to do? Like, we are trying to make decisions ourselves there. And so, as it turned out, I went back 3 weeks later, and some other guys went back, I think, between 2 and 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, so I continued to work all summer, and then in October, I developed some health issues. I think related to this from October, I didn't go back to work until May. I'm not going to go into any of that. When was the first time that you were debriefed by anybody? Or any post-event support came into a picture for yourself or your team? Like afterwards, you mean? Yeah, after. Very quickly. It was actually, I never got help for anything, but I have went in for 2 or 3 debriefs. Now, this is interesting because some people seem to get debriefed and some don't. I think I got peer-to-peer call. I think. Maybe. I don't know if I wrote that down. Yeah, I think she called actually that week, or somebody called peer-to-peer. She was from Alberta. So she was one that sort of put a bug in my ear, like, if you need help. So actually, it was me that contacted Health Services to get an appointment with somebody, a psychologist. And my first one was Friday, I think. After that, the following week, we had a brief. It was not in a detachment debriefing. It was a psychologist, critical incident stress debriefing, I think they call it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Good. And how would you rate it personally, the support you had after these events? Yeah, good. Yeah. A lot of good peer-to-peer checking in on each other at that to that point, and we're still all asking each other, how are you? How are things? And I got to the point where it was like, it got to be, I'd be all right if people would stop asking me how I was. You know what I mean? Generally quite humorous, right? But yeah, so good peer to peer. People were calling internally and just off to the side, personal phone calls. So I felt supported afterwards. Okay. No firearms license. Okay. Hell, knew the sunroom was entered, and it was when the commissioners were posted. Oh, there's something funky about Orchard Beach. And I know somebody said, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. It's private. It had nothing to do with private. It was taxpayer funded. And nobody else got taxpayer funded. It was Greg, I think. Greg, I'm sorry, I'm missing. Greg what? So your house got broken into subsequent? Because that occurred on the 20th. FIS was there the day after in the morning. That picture was taken. Oh, yeah, Greg Mercer. Yeah. Right. Which was an inaccurate article, which framed it that you were down there. I mean, it framed that the picture was taken in Portapique, which is not true. And obviously they know that. Why would they say that? Good, great to hear. Sorry, back to this. I'll keep checking in. Yeah, I'm just going to get in, just going to touch on a couple of things. I'm not, you want to wrap it up in a bow too. I'm not going to go through this in full detail or on anything. What the fuck are you there for? It was excellent explanation, and I'm glad. Makes things a lot clearer in my mind. Certainly doesn't in mine. I don't know about you, but it raises a lot of questions. Okay, especially you're driving an SUV, a Tahoe? Yes. So a larger vehicle? Yes. So I'm going to go right back when you first showed up and you bumped into Andy O'Brien. Yeah. So what I'm going to getting out of what you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, is his biggest concern was why did your guys come in and work last night versus coming in the morning without clearance? That is the very first thing he said. And that was a very short conversation. But that's what it was. Because I don't know what the rationale was, whether he had pressure from somebody else or what, but was very clear. We did not have anybody to take calls. You're it to take calls, and you got to take calls. Okay. So this is where I'm going with this. So outside of telling you, quote, okay, your guys are on the road, you're going to handle the area, did he tell you what happened last night and why these guys came in and why? No, no, it was, I don't know if he'd figured it. I already knew, or figured I already knew, because he said, your guys came out. And I said, yeah, I heard. But that's all I said, right? I didn't know anything. But then he went into, your guys, what he said. So to me, I didn't get the impression it was open for discussion after that. He wanted me to take calls. That was my priority for that day. So that's the way I took it. Okay, I'm taking calls today. And after that, I was trying to figure out am I like the my backup? Is there anybody available? But then I'm still concerned about my guys who came out the night before. What the hell happened? So that's why I was like, it led me to call Rodney. Um, okay, so it doesn't make sense. Even putting that in the report doesn't make sense. It's almost like way overcompensating for something. That's the feeling I get. If you're, it, I don't know, why put it down on a piece of paper? Everything you investigate, this person investigated. Who is it? McRae? I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. McKenna. He just does crime scene shit. So why the fuck is he there? And if they went there, why didn't they go anywhere else? There's no other filing for anything else they went to. And they'd already established that, I believe, at that point, you were still alive. Yeah, I don't mind. Ask away. I hope I. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just arrived home. Hello, truth and all. My main door didn't show signs of band. I don't know. Not making any sense. Why did they even feel the need to mention it then? To say, no, we broke in and nothing happened here. Okay. And just staying on this theme, sorry, here, information wise, like you said, that you received no shift report at the end or the end of, yeah. So at the end of the, at the end of the shift, supervisor or member will do up all the calls. That's a form. It's very basic. Who is working, the type of calls, and then if they if they end up, what follow up needs to be done. Any prisoners in custody. So I didn't see any of that. Nothing related to the night before either, right? I can't follow why they're leaving this guy in the dark and then having him sit on side roads. Well, that's my math. If they know that there's 6, the number doesn't change, right? The number doesn't change. It's 6, and I've seen more references to this too. 6 dead. Looks like 6 dead. 335. Chris to Campbell to Chris. Jeff West gave me an update, 9:15, still 6, not including arson, 4 males, 2 females. So it's still the same. Darren to Chris at 5:37. Wait a second. Interesting. This email. It's going by Ottawa time. Ontario time. That's not Eastern Standard. Or sorry, Atlantic time. Atlantic is -3. So 5:37. Not sure why then. Here it is here. The correct, is that the correct time then? That's 6:37. No, that's not correct either. Six confirmed, 2 bodies outdoors, 4 inside. So the number doesn't change, 6. We just get more specificity and that there's no arson, not including arson scenes there. R, 3. This is supposed to be an R. R, 3 homicide scenes. Preliminary, 4 adult males, 2 adult females. So if you do the math, you can say the Blairs and you can say Corey and Lisa McCauley. Now you're left with 2 males inside of a residence. Oh, they certainly would. Did they ever tell you that they entered your house? I thought that was somebody. Maybe I'll just have to leave the other part and continue the discussion on this because I don't want to detract from what you guys are saying. And it is, you know, he's got some more interesting things, but my read is that there is an issue with Cobequid. Everybody seems to avoid Cobequid. Call me tinfoil, but that's the appearance. Nobody seems to want to go down there. There's multiple calls getting put in. Please go down there. They're coming from all across the country. Dorington's got it in his notes. Let's look at that then. Because I think he's going to have to address this one. Photo Dorington. 11:10. Cheryl Blakey request well-being check. Aaron Tuck, 41 Cobequid Court. Constable Dorington was contacted by wife who had been updated by social media. What? Informed member that wife's best friend just witnessed male driving. Like, how the hell does that? Okay. Anyway, that's all of the goo over in, which I think is just pure and utter misdirection. And I'd say intentional is my read. But Cheryl Blakey's putting in the wellness check at 11:10. He puts it in his notes. However, he was down there. What, 10 o'clock something, if the GPS records show? Where? One moment. And their notes don't jive either. Lafferty's. In fact, there's some other interesting things, but I'm not even going to go there right now. Dorington. One moment. Okay. So this is Dorington's GPS records. Many thanks to those of you who assisted on this. I believe that's sad and oh dear, I'm not sure who. Now, as you can see, Dorington is all over Cobequid that day. Right? That morning. Interesting. However, say like here. Okay, he's driving, stopped. He only stops temporarily at the bonds, and I believe, wasn't there a reference to the fact that he stopped at Aaron's as well? 17. There he is, stopped there. 12:28, or sorry, 10:28, 10:26. That's 40 minutes. Before he got the wellness check, 40 minutes before, or sorry, 40 minutes after he was down there. Why was he down there? What was he doing? Why did he never go? Why was it Jarrett McDonald who went? Why was it Peterson call who triggered that? From all outward appearances from Tara. Why is Bent asking, clearing it with Jerry? Oh. You need to clear. Going to look for bodies. Files generated. Now, all of a sudden, I'm getting the feeling people were shitting their pants. Perhaps Leather's got the wrong info. Perhaps everything. You know, you throw a lot of fucking gunk out, man. You just defend. I don't know if other people see that. Certainly seems like you do a lot of gatekeeping. Not to be accusatory, but honestly, just everything you have. Maybe Leather misinterpreted. Yeah, maybe Leather misinterpreted. So then did West. So then did Breyer. So then did Campbell. So then did Moser, number 4. So then did the whole command triangle. No. Cobequid wasn't on the crayon map. I got a phone call telling me my place was good and police presence was gone from the area. Did they tell you that they broke into your house? I understood the greenhouse to be somebody else's, but who I won't mention, but I thought that was somebody else. Why? I don't have a clue as to why they're avoiding Cobequid. I've been trying to work this one out for days. Yes. And it seems fairly apparent. You know, you've got Carol. Yeah, I saw the road there. I just didn't think to stop there. How could you not think to stop there? How many fucking wellness checks from 2 different provinces, at least? I think from down in the States. You had Harry, who drove up there. I mean, it was getting absolutely fucking ridiculous, yet nobody wanted to go. And then you've got Jared McDonald, who by himself just gets a call from Rodney Peterson. I think the stars aligned. That's I don't know. Not that that's necessarily the way to put it, but that's what it seems to be. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just call over there. And Jared's by himself. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he goes, talks to Bent. And Bent's like, what the fuck? Did you clear this man? We're going to call Jerry. Why would you not go over? That's a totally crazy. As soon as you hear that there's bodies, you should be like, everybody should be like, holy fuck, we're getting over there right now. No. Did you clear it? They were last weekend. They went to have. They usually have the family with them. Oh, the people in the house. I'm more curious if they informed you that they entered your home and why they felt the need to enter your home. Crime scene investigators. Why? It doesn't appear to that report, which I linked. I can link it again. Rodney also makes, Peterson also makes reference to the Jarrett stuff in his notes. Ping, right here. See? I received 1311. I received a phone message, dispatch, that Tara Long, who's Tara, was looking for her brother, Aaron Tuck, and his wife, Jolene, 41 Cobequid. I spoke to a member who was doing scene security, Jarrett McDonald, who said he would send another member to the residence. I later heard the neighbor was deceased, and I've heard a couple of other members were deceased too. So, a couple of other, then heard a couple were also deceased, the Bonds. So frankly, you know, that's why I said, I don't know how to say that, because it just sounds strange. But if Tara hadn't placed that call, what would have happened? It even sounds like Rodney Peterson kind of had a bit of cold feet afterwards. And he's like, well, should we be taking these? I don't know if we should be taking these calls. I don't know what's going on. Right after. This is his member notes. So this would be what happened at the time. I've seen a vehicle, a little green cottage house across Cobequid. I've never been down. Should the door of the Bonds been noticeably open for Dorington to see that morning too? So would he have seen the body? Aaron, from my understanding, again, I don't obviously know Aaron, but Saturday night should have probably had a few drinks. He's not a super cop. He didn't do his job. He broke chain of command. He shit all over his superior. He put out a photo that confused the situation. He sent members away, and he's getting promoted in the media and things in that article are most certainly not true. I.e., it says his computer was not logged on. Bullshit. He had problems with his computer, Rodney Peterson. I'm not saying he's a super cop. I'm saying probably more something else. I find it very interesting certain people have this need to defend him because there's a whole bunch of funny questions that rise. I'm not sure how the greenhouse is coming in. So there are 2 more dead people. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that they knew of 2 other bodies, males, in a residence. And there has never been one residence. There is no residence in Portapique that has 2 males in it. Non-arson, non-arson. So what the fuck are they talking about? Yeah, but if did they inform you? I'm still trying to figure this one out. Did they inform you? Because according to Ben's notes, he checked the residences, looked in the windows, nothing seemed awry, and yet the next day they feel the need with a crime scene investigator to come in and break into your house and document that nothing happened at your residence. Seems very strange. Kind of along with you kind of goes along with another YouTube channel saying. What YouTube channel? I'm not sure. Door was open. Dorington failed to do wellness checks. He's not that dumb. No, he certainly is not. Sorry, some of the MCC are the cleaners. Dorington was. I'm not making accusations. I'm just laying out the pieces and asking the questions. Am I supposed to be? No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm just Cindy. I'm just simply saying. I'm just asking questions. It seems like something may have gone down at your place. Did something go down? Is that possible? Is that why they didn't want to go to Copwood? Is it? They can't figure out the order. Did it happen first? Did it happen last? I mean, how can they sit there and say, we don't know anything about Copwood? How many people were putting in wellness checks? There's a lady down in the States. There's so many. I have a recent beer can in my yard again. Okay. That's not good. Dorington ticket stop. Dorington photo license. Dorington goes to work without approval from supervisor. Dorington goes down there before calls. Nothing. Dorington has a cruiser on a road. Again, I don't want to make accusations, but these are facts. How many cruisers would be traveling around the roads that day? Tons. So to say I saw a cruiser with a guy driving it, so therefore it has to be something. What it would possibly make you think that that's worth getting on the air and sending people very close proximity to when, quote unquote, the Heidi Chad Shuby stuff happens? Look at how the order of all that happens. Just like Bernard said, it was so fast. All these different things happen. Did they kick down your doors or anyone else's? It wasn't kicked down. It was ripped from one hinge. Oh, good. My interpretation, guess, is that A, they knew about the deaths of Aaron, and Peter and others are lying. The bodies weren't found where the cops are telling us they were. Or C, there are more victims. Well, those are all, for sure, B and C are totally reasonable. C or A knew of the deaths of Aaron, and Peter and others are lying. All of those could be true. Perhaps family lawyers will change and ask the right questions next week when Dorington is to testify. Not only Dorington, because who else is it that's testifying? Bent. And he's the one that goes down to Cobequid. Bent would, even though Wood seems to be. And notice how there's no statements from these people. There's no RCMP statements. There's no mass casualty statements. Why? Not. Okay, I see. There's only so many characters. Looky Lou. The Looky Lou. I cannot wait here, Dorington, this week. Kind of shenanigans RCMP are pulling during floods. Yes, breaking in homes about the guns. I remember that. Did you ask them about it? And did they admit to doing it? Why they would need to break in your house is totally absurd. What time was the RCMP questioned or informed that you were and Ocean were fine? Because that would help clear up a bunch of things. Dorington and Colford, yep. Colford's affidavit has some interesting things in it too, but I'm not going to get off topic because this is probably a fairly important one to stay with. I didn't inquire, just took it down and laid it against no. So you didn't ask. The lawyers better step up next week. Dorington's wife and friend are also psychic, 28B11. I like the reference of, what was it? Where was that? Hubli, 22 Bravo 11. Really? Member shot in Stewiacke. Okay. Not to change topics, because that's the thing that if we get off topic, then it just gets really confusing. Stewiacke, Dorington's wife, heard friend driving through Dorington has snuck from the start. Looky Lou. Oh yeah, it's the Tom. That's where it's from. I was wondering, Looky Lou. Did you send a bill to them for the damage to the door? Reasonable question. Did they not have access to all the homes in the areas? Some were, well, no, because some were locked. They did not inform. Okay. What time were I guess the question then, Cindy, would be, what time, how were the RCMP informed that you were okay? Did they check on you? Or did you call in? And if so, what time were they aware that you were okay? Because they should have zero reason to go into your home. Zero. Bant already said he had looky loo. Did they not have to get access? Well, according to what that notation says, the residence was secure, i.e., it was locked. The property was secured. No one answered the door. Why would they feel the need to go in? There would be no vehicle there. Vance already looked in the window the day before. Everything seems to be fine. No one answers the door. So then they gain access. That's break and enter. No, they did inform. Sorry. Nope. Bill can't prove it. Sorry? Be like blood on my threshold from their hands. Excuse me? There was blood on your property? There's blood on your doorway. Or was. Or are you being figurative? They did not inform Cindy. Okay, so how did the RCM become aware that you were alive? Because obviously the next day they have to talk to you. This is on the 20th, right? Your statement is on the 21st, as I recall. Blood on your threshold? That's a problem. Why would there be blood on your threshold? Nope. No bill can prove it. It'd be like blood on it'd be like blood on my threshold from their hands. Was there blood on your threshold? So two questions, Cindy. What time were they informed? How did they become informed that you were okay? How did they come to learn that? I'm still even trying to figure out how they came to speak to you. Did they have some knowledge about Gabe? Some of these things just aren't, like, absolutely are not adding up. How do you know that it's a domestic early in the morning? The 2015 Mercedes is getting pulled over to give a ticket to Gabe, but she's driving it. I mean, it's totally fucked. Anyway, I don't want to get off topic. Silence. Frankly, I thought there'd be quite a bit of buzz. Ocean contacted the RCMP and let them know that they were safe. What time was that at? Sorry, maybe things are coming in staggered. Was that on the 19th, the 20th? It's in some notes I was reviewing yesterday. The Mercedes. They wanted to give him a ticket for something. Did anyone notice in Dorington's first interview with Wayne Fowler, he never mentioned time once? Transcript of recorded interview. November 9th. And then the correction. Not to go back to this, but see, he was signed in his computer. And yet, Tim Bousquet dumps all over him. I smell a rat. Yeah. Are you not feeling up to talking about this in New York? Yes, they interviewed the carpenter. Doucette. Yes. That seems to be widely circulated. At the very least, at the very least, chain of command was broken. at the very least. Which is not a good thing. 2 interviews with Doucette. I fear I may have upset Cindy. That's too bad. It wasn't my intent. Only guy in jail related to this is Griffin. Well, I don't even think he's in jail anymore. Of course, that came from places. Parole violation papers. Mm-hmm. Just lurking. There's been enough lurking. The light's gonna shine. Well, I think maybe I'll just end it on that. I would be really curious to see what you guys think about what's going on down in Cobequid, because it's pretty major. To me. And there's a lot of questions about it. And frankly, I think they're important ones to ask. There always has been, but there are far more now. Okay. Well, I hope I haven't upset you. That's not my point, Cindy. I noticed that you're quiet. Released June 2020. Is that the Lambie story? All right. Well, I'm gonna shut it down. And if you guys have any more thoughts as to Cobequid, this goo, 6 Ed, which is 2 males in a residence. I think, by the way, the document numbers, I think I included them here. 06880, that's the text message log, which is a total shit show because it's not printed with color codes. Come on. Children do that. This one is, did I include it? 23848. Leather to Darren. There was another one here, right? Didn't I have a third one? I've seen a few of these though now. References to 6. Oh, the light will shine. Within the first hour after we got word, they shot him. Did. Yes, thank goodness Cindy's alive. I think there was a grower. I can't speculate about any of that. I'm not going to. Holy shit. Is it that delayed? Figurative? I think that was like 20 minutes ago I mentioned that. I'm presuming you're talking about Dorington stopovers. Which don't make sense. And he didn't want to go down there again. Anyway, please let me know what you think. Please, I'd love to see some discussion in the Discord. Copaquid is a thread. Pull on it. I think it may begin to unravel a little bit more. God bless you all. Very glad Cindy's alive. God bless the 23. I'll finish Rodney Peterson's interview at a later point. But that gives a rise to a few more questions. Do have a great rest of the afternoon, please. God bless you all. God bless the 23.